Do you want an amazing marriage? Are you ready to take your marriage to the next level? Then stick around for Your Marriage Matters podcast with marriage coach Lynn. Let's put some fun and sizzle into your relationship.
How important is honor in a marriage relationship? What do we mean by honoring your spouse? People talk about commitment, respect, cherishing your spouse, but honor is a topic that is not commonly discussed or thought about. We will talk about what honor looks like in marriage and how you can honor your spouse every day of your life. Let's talk about a few terms. Cherish, to hold dear, treat with care and affection, to keep deeply in mind. Respect. Respect means to hold someone in high or special regard or esteem, an expression of respect or deference, refraining from interfering with another's privacy. Honor, good name, reputation, outward respect, privilege, a person of superior standing, used especially as a title. For example, the Honorable XYZ. Honor can refer to one who brings respect or fame, a person of distinction. When we think of honor, we think of fairness, honesty, or integrity in one's beliefs and actions. There's a type of purity, homage, or reverence, deference that we show to someone. We might bow, curtsy, or do some type of gesture to a person of honor. We think of military, a dignitary, or someone of special accomplishment. We show gratitude to those we honor. What else can you think of? Honor is the understanding and then treating our spouse with the male-female differences in mind. For example, women often have more need for affection. They want to be heard and understood. Men are often accused of being problem solvers, wanting to fix things and situations. They value independence. So, for example, the wife might have a high need for conversation and the husband might not be interested. If he is honoring her, he will truly listen, not treat the situation as a fast food restaurant drive-through window with hurried intentions. Rather, show honor by valuing her and listening even when he does not want to. The same is true for women. At times, our spouse might want or need us, and we have other things on our minds. It's good to stop and listen or ask your partner if you can have a conversation a little later when you can fully engage. Honor can improve the emotional intimacy in the marriage and the closeness you feel. Patience is part of honor. Couples might get frustrated with their partner's inability to share feelings or bring up issues, but if you honor, you develop patience and willingness to listen. The concerns will come out, and you're creating an environment that says, "Hey, I care about you, and I'm here to listen to you." When you lack honor, lack listening, and a tense environment, partners tend to shut down, communicate with assumptions, and sometimes feel desperate. If the husband is perceived as being unavailable, the wife will sometimes feel an emotional distance, abandonment, anger, or a perception of selfishness. There's a lot of talk about trust in marriage, obvious trust about fidelity, but when we talk about honor, wrapped up in the concept of honor is the feeling of safety. Safe to reveal your thoughts and feelings. Trust comes with the act of honoring your spouse and their desires or requests. If you have honor for each other, safety, trust, and comfort relating to each other comes naturally. As you know, I'm a big proponent of the work of Drs. John and Julie Gottman. They talk about accepting your partner's influence as a critical component of those who master marriage. Involved in accepting influence of your spouse is honoring your spouse. My husband honors and holds in high regard my work on marriage and childbirth, and we work together on these issues. He's always ready to listen, and we have a great rapport, making each other stronger and keeping each other on track as needed. When your spouse honors you, you end up thriving. Your emotional health will reach a high level. Your spiritual and your confidence will also reach high levels. You feel valued and affirmed. What if you don't have enough honor in your relationship? What if you feel like you want more? First, ask yourself if you are honoring your spouse. Sometimes one spouse will take the lead and the other will feel inspired. Did you ever notice that when your spouse cleans parts of the house to perfection, sometimes you are inspired to pitch in as well with the cleaning? That happens with me, and it helps me come out of my laziness. Good habits are sometimes contagious. Treat your spouse honorably, and it might inspire reciprocity. As I mentioned, it starts with patience. It starts with listening. It means showing respect and acting in manners that put your spouse on a pedestal, treating him or her with high regard. Giving honor means exhibiting pride about your spouse, to your spouse, and in conversation with others. Be aware that it's much more healthy to speak positively of your spouse with others rather than share complaints and negativity about your spouse to others. If you treasure your spouse, your heart feels it, and you will speak positively with others. Let's talk about subservience. The Bible has some people confused and mistakenly interpreting that the man is the head of the household and no matter what he says goes. He has the final word. He is the dictator. But most people will see that every human being has value and that when it comes to relationships, there is a give and take, a balance, an equality of equal respect and decision making. If there is a dictator in a relationship, one person will most likely quickly shut down, stonewall, and become quiet and resigned. Positive and powerful subservience and submission means that you are both willingly compromising and serving each other for the betterment of each other or the relationship or family. Are you familiar with one of the 10 Commandments, honor your father and mother? Honor means that you show respect and be polite. In a world with broken relationships, it doesn't mean you have to have a thriving relationship. Some people have little peace in their family or are not in communication with their parents. We don't have to reconcile with certain people or an ex-spouse. We can love them from a distance, wish them well, pray for them and ourselves, and mainly feel honor in our hearts. We don't want to be frozen in resentment or disappointment or sadness, but we can feel an honor that they did the best they could or that they themselves are broken and deserve and need our forgiveness. You can honor an ex-spouse in your heart even if you feel that you've been damaged or wronged. If you have a difficult marriage or are going through some tough times, you can honor your current spouse. This can be challenging, but how are you going to turn things around and follow a path of improvement if you don't honor your spouse? Does your spouse deserve honor? Yes. By virtue of being a human being, everyone deserves honor. You must figure out how you are going to honor your spouse. Here is a way you can honor your spouse. Honor each other's space. I know I talked earlier about being available to listen to your spouse. Sometimes we need space and might need to boldly say that now is not a good time to have a conversation, and to ask if we can come back to it when we're both ready or in a receptive frame of mind. Honoring someone's space means not being demanding or unreasonable, allowing private time for whatever your spouse wants or needs to do. Newlyweds sometimes have a hard time figuring this out, but in time you find ways to honor your spouse's need for space. Let's talk about fidelity. We must honor the practice of fidelity and chastity. Most people getting married have the understanding and commitment of sexual exclusivity. I have to say most because there are those who practice polyamory and might not have intentions of sexual monogamy. Here at the Your Marriage Matters podcast, you know that I value monogamy and I cannot endorse marriages that accept and practice a non-monogamous lifestyle. We need to honor sexual exclusivity. This means that we need to communicate honestly with our partner about what turns us on, what frustrates us, what we struggle with sexually, and what we want and expect from our sexual relationship. We must be clear and open and address things immediately. especially if we experience physical or emotional pain during sex with our partner. It would benefit the relationship if we disclosed any thoughts that contribute to a change in the sexual relationship. Most relationships deteriorate because there are things that go unsaid. Honoring means having trust and openness. Don't be a couple who let things go unsaid. At some point, you might wake up and wonder what happened and how things unraveled. In large part, it's because there's a silent inner world screaming to be heard, but you lack the courage to face and discuss something. When it comes to your sexual relationship, be on the lookout for boredom, which can lead to curiosity outside your partner, which can lead to responding to an opportunity out in the big, vast world. Many sexual affairs begin with opportunity, not that the partners are seeking to breach boundaries and vows, but opportunities in the workplace, in the community, and online are plentiful. They are very tempting for some. Guard against opportunity. Focus your attention on your spouse by showing and living an honorable lifestyle. Speaking of focusing your vision on your partner, take a good look and consider your spouse's dignity as a human person. Look at how unique your spouse is and think about that. Really think about that. Be other-centered rather than self-centered as you work on honoring your spouse. Be intentional and schedule time together if you are caught up in a busy life. Slow down a little and be observant. Here's a thought. What do you find mysterious and intriguing about your spouse? That's a homework experience I'd like to give you for this week. Discover something intriguing about your spouse. What is intriguing about your partner? Honor your spouse in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health, when you are getting along lovingly and when you are not getting along. Honor is consistent, not conditional. If you like this podcast, tell a friend. If you like this podcast and listen regularly, please subscribe and leave a rating. Our next 2 episodes will be on honesty. I think you'll like my approach to honesty. We'll talk about things that I bet you haven't heard anywhere else. Remember to honor your spouse each and every day. Until next time, make your marriage great.